All right, so this past weekend I went to a regional in San Antonio, Texas, and I played 60 card Infernoid. Um, I recently picked up Infernoid because I think Infernoid is one of those decks that will always stick around just because the cards themselves are incredibly powerful. Um, the deck may not always have its format, but when it does, it's definitely a contender, I think. So, yeah, it's 60 cards. I figured if I sacked enough people, I would do well enough, and I did pretty okay. I dropped out after going X3, which kind of sucks, but that's like it wasn't so much like anything I did wrong or my opponent like opening super insane. It's just like the nature of the deck. You either get sacked really hard, like you either sack your opponent really hard, or they sack you really hard, or the deck like bricks on you because it's 60 cards. But you know how I still think the deck is really strong, so I'm definitely going to like uh, mess with it some more because I really do like the deck a lot. So here's my list. It's 60 cards, so this might be a little awkward, but I played three Decatron. It's any Infernoid in your deck. Two Onoku, two Deviati. Um, I feel like the deck has a very strong matchup against Pendulum. That was one of the reasons I wanted to play Infernoid because I felt like Pendulum Edition would be like tied with Spirals as like the best deck. And this deck just I did not I only dropped one game to Pendulum Editions all day. So and that was like because it wasn't so much the Pendulum cards that beat me, it was the fact that he had Ash for my grass. So but yeah, this deck is like really strong against Pendulum because of cards like Onoku and Deviati. So that's important to know. Two Cydamus. Yeah, there's two Cydamus and only one Atundel. Um, Probably should have played another Atundel just because I wanted my mills to be a bit better. But this ratio was fine um, at the time. Uh, this guy, because you can summon it off Feast, two Harmadec, and three Pat Chula, I think that's what it's called. But these two guys are both interchangeable, depending on the format. It might be correct to play a third Harmadec over a third one of these, but I figured like Pat was more important than Harmadec just because it allowed me to pop things like the Pendulum Trap card, the Spiral Resort, you know, stuff like that. Like let me just clear annoying things out of the way before making a big play. Because my deck can deal with monsters really well. It's just like the spell and traps that I want to get out of the way first. One Gofu, I drew it like once or twice, and it was always really good. Three Snow, still very powerful. Uh, my Lightsworn Engine, this card's a brick, but when it's not a brick, it's pretty powerful. Two Raiden. Looking back, I should have played three. It's the best normal summon next to Decatron. It enables Omega and Minerva to come out. The one Lumina for access to Michael off Raiden. And that was my Lightsworn package. Um, I could have played like one Lumina and three Raiden and called it a day, but I wanted to play Wolf because it would then allow me to play cards like Solo Recharge. And then I played the Kaiju package. This deck struggles a lot with Masterpiece, and it struggles with Masterpiece, Sleeper, and number 41. So I wanted like outs to those cards. And then hand traps. No matter what deck you're playing, you have to play hand traps. Um, You don't, however, have to play hand traps in the double digits because the spiral deck is a lot less consistent, and like you don't need to open a hand trap. Like you don't need to play like 15 hand traps just to compete. But you want the hand traps. You just don't need to overdo it anymore. Uh, One grass. Um, Anytime I resolved it, I won. The only time it was bad was against pendulums when the guy had the ash blossom for it. But other than that, like every time it resolved, it like won me the game. Three left arm to search out um, grass. And if you're worried about ash, you can always summon Decatron and send Deviati to the graveyard to negate the ash. Three void banishment, two void imagination. Never resolved it, so I don't really have an opinion. But I'm pretty sure when it resolves, it's a win condition. Three desire, draw two cards. Three charge, three recharge. One for one, Kaiju Slumber, and the two void feast. Just two. It's like the worst card to draw, but you have to play it. It's an engine requirement. For the extra deck, I played the one Tieria, um, three of these. This combo's broken. It fills up your graveyard and it nukes their board. Like, what more could you ask for? Two Link Spiders, because of Gofu. This card came up like once or twice, and it was always pretty good. It combos with the kaiju's, and you don't necessarily have to open with Gofu just to make this, because all your infernoids are the same type. So you can like kaiju your opponent, uh, use two of the kaiju's you summoned off of Feast to make this, and then go from there. One proxy, one of this, uh, this. I never made this, but its card's pretty good. Minerva, of course. Omega, Michael, one Black Rose. Um, that's the extra deck. Pretty good. The side deck was complete BS. I literally built the side deck like 30 minutes before the event started. Um, but basically, it was just a bunch of like generic sided cards. I cited Solemn Strikes for going first against Pendulum, Anti Spells, Rolls for Spiral, Twin Twisters, Dark Hole. Yeah, it's pretty BS. Like, I think this is the least prepared I've been for an event. Like, but I went like super last minute to that tournament. Um, like on Friday night, I decided, you know what, let me just go to the regional. Like, let me just go. It's the last Texas regional until the new set drops next year, so I figured I might as well go. Yeah, it was super last minute, and this was like what I had on me at the time. But I still had a lot of fun, um, and did pretty well for something like last minute with like little to no prep time. But no, I'm gonna stick with Infernoids for a while. I think the deck is looking pretty good, but I think the deck is looking pretty good moving forward. I just need to work some rough uh, corners out. But no, yeah, I just wanted to get it out of the way. So see you guys later.